Essay number 3 in your semester project is really a question that's going to be answered differently by everybody, and that's okay. Questions 1 and 2 are geared to get you to understand that your communities of interest are where your voice is most strongest in the House of Representatives and in the Senate, and so that you understand how the bill making process works, where you weigh in, how your voice is conveyed in the legislative body. And then question number 2 is geared to help you understand that only those who are voting in majority really are having their public policy priorities represented in the plural executive. The key thing here is civic engagement. Participation is key. We don't have nearly enough of it in Texas. Go back to your civic health index that we looked at in the first set of lectures and look at how few Texans are voting, how many Texans actually discuss politics or government, or even have a basic understanding of how government works. We all have a responsibility, not just as Texans, but as Americans, to participate. This is a government of the people, by the people, for the people. A democracy means people rule. So if we're not participating, if we're not voting, then our democracy can't function in a healthy way. So when you're asked, what is my responsibility? If you're eligible to vote, then registering to vote and voting is a baseline, but also being informed, keeping up with the issues that you care about. I tell my students in my lecture classes, you don't have to care about everything. I worked in the legislature for years, and I didn't know what all of those bills were, the details, and they didn't matter to me, but there were bills that mattered to me, those that my boss was handling, and those that affected my legislative districts. You don't have to care about everything, but now's a good time to figure out what it is that you do care about so that you can weigh in, so you can start letting your voice be heard. I also tell my lecture students that I understand completely why people don't follow government. If you don't understand how it works, if you don't know the rules or the process or the players, you're not going to follow the game. When I was growing up, soccer was, I think my dad thought soccer was some kind of communist plot that the Russians had sent over. Nobody played soccer when I was growing up. It was all baseball, football, basketball. But now soccer is a really big deal. But I don't understand it. I didn't grow up in a culture where soccer was played. I don't know the rules. I don't know anything about it. And so to me, it just looks like a bunch of people running around in circles on a field. It holds no interest to me. And how does that relate to government? I think that's why a lot of people don't engage, why they don't vote, why they don't keep up with things, is because they just don't understand how it works and how they fit in. So I try to build that into my courses so that you can participate. People who vote get. The people who are voting in Texas are getting a lot of what they want. The people who aren't, not so much. So your answer is going to be different depending on who you are. You might already be someone who is engaged. You might be someone who doesn't believe that government works. Maybe your idea has changed a little bit. Maybe you might want to run for office one day. I mean, it differs for everybody. So write what you feel, and please don't tell me you want to be the governor of Texas one day, because that means you haven't been paying attention all semester. Remember, the governor's office in Texas is quite weak. There's not a lot of executive responsibility there. So tell me you want to be the lieutenant governor, because that's where the real power is. But anyway, just think about what are your responsibilities now that you may have a different idea or some more knowledge about how all this works. How can you engage? How can you be a part of positive change in your community at the local level, and as it relates to Texas government at the state level? And any answer that you come up with, as long as it's written well and uses good grammar and punctuation, will get you a good mark. All right, hope that helps.